This old guy DIY video has to do with making the greatest bucket trap for mice ever. And the feature that makes this one so much better than the rest is that there's never a need to refill the bait until you get bored or it loses its smell. I made this little holder on the end, and it seems mice are just like college kids. They love these red Solo cups. So when I have these things in service, I put the bait in here, just set the bait there, and then the mice come to do their thing. So if you're going to use this technique, it's important that you cover the bait, either with a piece of wood, or if you like to use the cover that was initially on the cat litter container, that works great also. But we have to have the bait covered so little critters cannot access it from the top edge here. I like to line the piece of wood up so it's kind of like a teeter-totter. I want the mice to come down here onto the firm side so they're happy. They think, oh, that smells great. Then when they get over and make the run for the smell, they go swimming and it's over. I used a cat litter container here just because that's what she had at the house. I've also made them with 5-gallon pails. It really doesn't matter what type of bucket you use. You just want something tall enough so you can get 3 inches of water in the bottom and still have the flipper function. Over the years, I've used these bucket traps many times. You put about 3 inches of water in the bottom, the critter jumps in, comes over to get the bait, takes a plunge, finds out swimming's no fun, and that's the end of it. But the thing I didn't like about it is when you put it up in the attic, or if you're using it in the summertime, most often you have bait smeared over here on this side of the flipper. So especially when it's hot, if your bait is peanut butter, it turns to liquid and basically you have oil that runs down on your water, so you lose your bait. And what I've done here is developed a way, you just put your bait in the cup, drop the cup in the holder, and the holder is above the level of the flipper. So the little mouse smells it, he never has a chance to access it, and when you're tired of that bait, you just take this out, throw a new cup in. I got 20 of these cups in a pack at the Dollar Tree for $1.25, so it's 6 cents a piece. You really can't beat it. And once the trap is assembled, there's clearance, so you can put the cat litter top on just like it was when it initially came, and it's nice and clean and easy to contain, and you close it when you're done. If you don't want to use a stick, you can just take a rag like I did here, just hook that over the edge. Those little critters will scurry right up that thing with no problem. And the other option is just to put a board with a nail. And whether you use the rag or a board, the key is to make sure you have clearance so this nail doesn't hit the flipper when it goes. Now I'll explain how I made it. I tried to make it as easy as possible for people who may not be very mechanically inclined. So to mount the little tray here, that's just one zip tie. You can see I came down 1.25 inches from the top to that point where I drilled 2 holes, and I put the zip tie in, and I just left a loop that the cup can sit in. And then beneath that, I came down just dead center on this side. I went 3 inches from the top edge, and I put that little nail that acts as a stopper. And then on the sides for location, I just drilled a hole the size of my roofing nail. Right here through the middle of the handle, there was already a hole there, so it was easy for alignment. That's what the other side looks like. And then I put a 5th screw in there that just limits the travel so the thing doesn't spin all the way around. It forces it to go back home. And that's 4 3/4 of an inch from the top. So when I have the flipper in place, I like to put a counterweight of some type behind the center line away from the bait. So if you put it closer, it has less resistance and it doesn't pull the pan down as much. If you put it way back here on the back edge, after the thing flips, it'll come home more quickly. But I just like to have something there because it helps me maintain control, and it seems to be very effective with the mice. And just to keep the piece of corrugated stuff that I used here for the pan off of the wall, I used a little tiny zip tie on each side. I put those little zip ties in as spacers and really didn't tighten them up. This material is a piece of corrugated plastic that came from somebody's advertising that was put in the yard where it wasn't welcome. So as I was looking through the Hot Chicks barn, I found that and said, hey, this will work out just perfectly. So when you look in the ends, you can see it's corrugated, and the roofing nail just went right into one of those little spots. You can just as well do this with a solid product or with cardboard, but if you use cardboard, you're going to have to replace it occasionally. It's sitting over water, it's going to get humid, it might drip down, but this plastic product will last forever. So once I had the piece of sign, then I measured the inside of the container here, and it's about 10 3/4 by 8 3/8. So then I came down from the end 5 3/8, and I just put a black mark on that side and a black mark on that side. So when I drilled my hole through here and put the roofing nail in, it was easy for me to come in here and just line up that corrugated product with my little mark. So now, see, this thing is happy to flip and flap and do whatever. I first made one of these with the detachable bait tray about a week ago. And as far as the bait can is concerned, this was my second iteration with the zip tie and the solo cup. Initially, I just took the bottom of a pill bottle, I cut that off, I drilled 2 holes through it, and just zip tied a little pill bottle right here to the side of the thing. That's not as easy to clean, and after using that for my first iteration, I thought this little solo cup thing was pretty cool. That's why I went this direction. But you can zip tie, tape, glue, whatever you want, some type of little bait holding vessel here on the end. And I think it'll make the experience much better if you're using this trap in a hot environment, whether in the attic or the summer. And a friend of mine has a sea container that had some mice in it. So I offered to take this thing over. I took it over. He said, "Oh, you think it's going to work?" And I bet him that he would get 6 mice that night. 24 hours later, he went back and he had 19 that were in the water, dead. So he dumped those out and he's ready to go again. But I've used these traps for years. The thing that I really didn't care for was having the bait turn into some kind of liquid product and run down into the water, having to go bait and over. And this is a solution to baiting. It seems that the mice love the red solo cup as much as a college kid. As a kid, I remember an adult telling me, if you build a better mouse trap, the world will be the path to your door. And this feature, with removable bait pan and the flipper set down, so this is a kind of a self-contained unit, you know, those 2 features make this a better, cleaner, more easily managed bucket mouse trap than any other I'm aware of. This technique is really working out great for me, and I hope it works out great for you. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and have a great day.